can we talk about the food industry for a sec? Like, how can it be that you can buy a bottle of Coke for less money than a bottle of water? Is that how far we've fallen as a society? How can it be that a can of SpaghettiOs is cheaper than some tomatoes? Like, does that make sense? Now, before anyone gets triggered, I know that you can buy things on sale. You can most likely eat for relatively cheap if you don't have that many mouths to feed and stuff like that. Personally, I live alone, and I'm not gonna lie, I eat at my girl's house a lot of the time, but recently I've been starting to make my own food at home. Not really anything healthy, just like, frozen broccoli or chicken strips or maybe a sidekick or, something like that. Anyway, without me roasting my lack of cooking expertise, let's talk about the food industry. Firstly, let's address the elephant in the room. The price of food has skyrocketed in the past year and a half, I'm not gonna lie. I found this one post on Reddit that outlines the price of food going up in 2020 and 2021, so let's cut to that now. So real quick, I just wanted to pop in here on this Reddit post and talk about this comment. So this guy, he's a grocery retail guy. Food inflation has been between 3 and 5% over the last 3 years based on our internal and external metrics. This is higher than usual, but we aren't seeing hyperinflation or anything. So far this year it's been around 2.5, although the last 4 weeks has spiked up closer to 3. Some reasons ordered by my estimated size of impact. Freight costs are way up. We all know this. Like, it's not a surprise, I guess you could say. 40 to 50% higher than a few years ago. He thinks it's a supply and demand thing. Nobody's driving trucks anymore, and container shipping costs are way higher than we're used to seeing. Fuel is higher than last year too, which is another shipping factor. So, I guess you could say that plays, a pretty big of a role. Next, he's talking about material shortages, and apparently we're experiencing an aluminum shortage in North America, getting quoted 20 to 30% higher for things like pop and sparkling water. So I guess, we all have to start staying away from that. Not sure if it's completely resolved yet, but these kind of shortages happen from time to time and will send a quick noticeable ripple through the market. Then he talks about commodity prices. Beef and pork are insanely expensive relative to the past. That's pretty normal. I would say proteins have been, steadily going up over the past few years. I know a lot of people, they're talking about pork. I don't really eat pork because I don't really like it that much. And then, he goes on to say normally they would switch promotions over to poultry, whose cost is holding, but supply is very tight right now, and it's tough to get additional product. Then you have product availability, right? This is probably one of the biggest things. We're a year into the pandemic, and there's still products that just aren't available in enough quantities to run a promotion. Paper towels, Lysol, soup, cleaning supplies, stuff like that. They haven't been raising prices, but they just haven't been running many sales, because they don't have a choice. If they used to promote soup every other week, now they can only get enough inventory to run it every 6 weeks. So essentially the scarcity, I guess you could say, has tripled, right? All of this effectively results in prices going up. Pandemic costs, some people might disagree with it, and he's not going to defend it. Labor costs are going up, more people cleaning, telling you where to line up and stuff like that. That's very true, because now, there has to be somebody to limit the amount of people that are in the store. There has to be somebody to tell you that you have to wait at this place before you line up at the cashier and stuff like that. He then goes on to say that it means running less promotions. It's starting to come off a bit now because things are winding down. And I didn't know about this one, the universal minimum advertised prices. This one flies under the radar a bit, I guess you could say. Chester is now on the table. Coke and Pepsi 12 packs have gone from $3.30 in 2019 to $4.05 in 2020 and $4.95 in 2021. They dictate the lowest price we can sell something for, just like Apple does with their iPhone and such. Kraft put a bunch of items on sale over the last few years too, include Kraft Dinner, Philly Classical, Maxwell House, and stuff like that. There are pros and cons to these kinds of policies, but they do result in higher prices. With more people at home, we're consuming more, right? You make coffee at home, versus some people who get it for free at the office. That's $10 every couple weeks, right? Lunch, you might have been bringing a $2 salad into the office. Now I feel the urge to have a hot and more expensive meal at home. We're buying more fruits and veggies for afternoon snacks. That's probably true too. We aren't eating out as much. Our entertainment spending has basically all shifted to the grocery store and LCBO and beer. So we're treating ourselves more than we should have otherwise. So, that's basically it, right? I mean, we saw it from somebody that works in a grocery store, right? I don't know this guy's position there. I don't know if he's a manager. I don't know if he's just a regular guy or whatever you want to say, but he's validating it, I guess you could say. So it's not just, it wasn't just you noticing like, oh, okay, wait, I used to pay like $35 a couple weeks ago, and then now all of a sudden I'm paying $40. It's the people that work there are noticing it too. So anyway, let's get back to the video. Now I know you might be like, oh, well, it's easy to get cheap food. You just have to buy it on sale, and you just have to make sure it's in season, and you just have to make sure that you shop at the cheap grocery stores. And I agree with that, right? I'd say you're right. But can we talk for a second about how predatory the fast food industry is? Like, okay, I hate to say predatory because really and truly, like, I don't know whose fault it is, so forget the word predatory, but let's just say fast food industry. So according to the McDonald's app on my phone, ordering for pickup, so there isn't any extra delivery cost or anything like that, right? So let's make up a meal that I'd eat, for example. Personally, I don't eat that much, and right now my girl is laughing somewhere because she thinks different, but we'll roll with it. So let's say you want 2 cheeseburgers, right? I'm not a big fries person, but let's throw some fries in there, and we'll throw in a small Coke. As you can see, our total comes out to be just under $10, or $9.56 to be exact. Now you might be saying, well, what's the point here? I can make 3 or even 4 meals for less than $10. And you're right, maybe you can, but I think the point that I'm trying to make is when it comes to food, like, we can only choose 2 of these options: healthy, cheap, and convenient, right? If you buy McDonald's, it's cheap and convenient, but it's not healthy. If you buy a pre-made salad, it's healthy and convenient, but it's not cheap. If you make salad at home, for example, it's cheap and healthy, but it's not convenient. That's my problem with the food industry, I guess you could say. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how we can solve this problem. I know grocery stores already aren't making too much profit because it's expensive for them to buy the food, and then they have to pay people to put it on the shelves and stuff like that. So I'm not blaming them. I'm also not blaming the trucking industry. I know how difficult that job is, to drive for long hours, and you have to deal with all those people on the highway. You allegedly have to drive a certain distance per day and things like that. So I'm not blaming them either. I'm also definitely not blaming the farmers. We can beat around the bush all we want, but farmers feed us and supply food to the whole world. I actually read this comment on Reddit from the same post from before, and this person, who's allegedly a farmer, said that the production of fruit is down significantly. Cherries in British Columbia have been destroyed by the heat wave we had back in July and August, along with the raspberries, and blueberry production has been down 30 to 50% from the past year. Like, costs to operate are also higher across the board compared to last year. No one is taking into account global warming and the changes it's having on food production. Does this mean global warming is responsible for rising food costs along with rising water levels and rising temperatures? Was Interstellar foreshadowing the fate of the human race this entire time? To be honest, I don't know. And I'm not making excuses for people that eat bad food, but for the single mom that's working 2 jobs and has to take care of her kid, or even 2 kids, and she has no time for herself, I can see why it's easier to just buy some cheap and non-healthy food compared to making something decent. Again, I'm not making excuses, right? But sometimes people just need a break, and they either buy food or they just throw something in the oven, or whatever the case is. Either way, I don't know how to solve the food crisis, even though it affects basically everybody. I guess all I can say is buy things on sale and things that are in season, and shop at discount grocery stores. One more thing before I end the video, I think growing your food is also a decent option. Obviously you can't grow everything, but say you start your tomato plants in April, they usually take about 2 months to grow. So you plant enough, right, to have some in July or for July and maybe August, I guess. I mean, you could also freeze them if you have to, but they'll probably get like mushy when you like thaw them out and stuff like that. So be aware of that. So yeah, ending the video on somewhat of a positive note, you could always try having a green thumb and planting some fruits and vegetables to get some for relatively free or low cost. And as always, thanks for watching.